Okay, hello everyone. So, congratulations on finding your way to this live webinar. It's a pleasure to welcome everyone. The ready2LOOP team has prepared and is super excited to launch our new layer for logistics providers. So we have a little hour. We'll do it a little bit shorter. So we just provided you with a free break. I hope you enjoy it. We will go through the new layer. You will also get a little introduction to ready2LOOP in general. And also this webinar will be recorded, so you can also return to it if you have other activities right now. So thank you for being here, and please enjoy. And with me today, I have Giovana Gomes, a postdoc researcher here at DTU, the key brain and behind all the research and behind the logistic providers layer. And also with us today, we have Julia Nosholz. She's an authorized ready2LOOP consultant from Rampel Management Consulting. And also it's a pleasure for me to welcome Amro Hadjev. He's also authorized consultant here at ready2LOOP. So from Vegan and Moe. And these are the two consulting partners that are supporting the project so far. And with no further ado, we will get to the layer introduction. And at the end, after the introduction, we'll have a Q&A together with Julia and Amro. So I would like to give the words to Giovana. I'm super excited to listen in on the launch. The word is yours.
Thank you very much, Kristine. It's a pleasure to be here. So let's start it with the introduction to logistic providers. And logistic providers act in many different operations within the value chain. So they are providing transportation of goods as one of their activities, but they are also responsible for storing products and managing the inventory of many companies in the value chain, and sometimes even responsible for packaging and labeling products. So they play a very important role in product manufacturers' value chain. And here at ready2LOOP, we will launch then a new layer devoted for logistic providers. And ready2LOOP provides solutions for companies that want to transition to circular economy. And within our platform, we provide an analysis of your company's strengths and opportunities, understanding how well you are doing. You can get a readiness profile with the results of how ready your company is in different levels of the in different dimensions, of your organization. You can also get benchmark results. You can compare your results within your own company in different scopes, business unit scopes, but you can also compare your readiness results with other companies in our platform. And then you can use those results to kick off your transition to circular economy, to get recommendations and tools to really start your circular economy journey towards circularity. But then, talking about logistic providers, which is our focus today, logistic providers are the companies that are transporting materials, and not only products, but resources, components, packaging, from one value chain to another, and contributing with other activities within transportation. And then we see logistic providers as a key element in the value chain to connect these many different value chain layers in a circular economy setting. And our goal in ready2LOOP is to provide readiness assessments for these different value chain layers. So today we are launching logistic providers, but we have many different value chain layers already in our platform. And we see this combination of assessments and providing the support to a transition as essential to foster collaboration and cooperation across the value chain. And we can think companies are always imagining what are the key elements, what they need to focus on when transitioning to a circular economy. And this is something that we provide for the companies are ready2LOOP. So you see that different companies have different needs, of course, and they need to focus on different activities and aspects when transitioning to a circular economy. So far, we have launched 6 value chain layers. Today, we're launching the 7th. And they all have different dimensions, as we call different groups of aspects that are relevant for their circular economy readiness. And today, we are launching the 7th one with, of course, the needed, the specific dimensions and aspects relevant for logistic providers. And we may ask, what does the transition to for circular economy for logistic providers look like? And it might seem like it is an easy question to answer, but we actually go through several months of research to answer this question. So to present the results that we're going to present for you today, we went through a methodological process, which the first step is to conduct a literature review on circular economy for logistic providers. And we went through 243 articles, and we extracted data from 76 articles and 37 case studies. Then we when we collect these results, we do an internal validation workshop here at DTU, and we consulted 6 experts on sustainability, circularity, and logistics to validate our results. Once we have this feedback, we go to the second step of our methodological process, that is to conduct a validation workshop with experts from industry. So we invite experts in logistic providers, within logistic provider companies, to help us validate the questionnaire. And then we get our final set of questions and dimensions. So for logistic providers, we have 21 questions related to circular economy readiness, distributed in 6 different dimensions. After we have the final questions and dimensions, then it's time to develop the recommendations that the companies are going to get and the tools that they can use to support their transition. For this process, we have 105 sets of recommendations for the companies and over 40 tools suggested. And then it is time to launch this new layer. So for the first time, we're presenting to you the 6 dimensions for logistic providers. They are organization, the capabilities of companies to develop internal knowledge on circular economy, strategy and business model innovation, the capability of companies of developing new business models, new value propositions according to circular economy principles, logistics services and innovation. So the capabilities of companies on developing services, developing offerings according to circularity, sourcing and operations, the capabilities of companies in developing procurement process, taking into consideration circularity and operating in a circular way. Technology and data, the capabilities of companies of incorporating technology and incorporating data analysis in their circular economy transition. And the final dimension is policy and market. So the capabilities of companies in influencing their market and influencing policies towards circular economy. And then now I'm going to present each one of the dimensions. So the first one here is organization. And within the organization, we are investigating how ready companies are to develop these internal skills. And here we ask companies to what extent their leadership is committed to circular economy, to the circular economy transition, how far they are in assessing the risks of not transitioning to a circular economy, and how far they are in making investments to support the circular economy transition, and to what extent they are building the capabilities, the necessary capabilities to transition. And as an example here, we have FedEx, a US company that has ambitious goals in terms of sustainability. And to deliver those goals, they have set some numerous projects and they are delivering and they are defining specific budget to those projects. So they are allocating specific investments into specific products, including circular economy here in the middle. So this is a way investing on circular economy initiatives is key to actually get the success the circular economy can achieve, and not only financial investments, but resources in other ways, so human resources and infrastructure in general. The second dimension that we have is strategy and business model innovation. And here we are considering to what extent the organizations are delivering and developing wide strategies regarding circular economy that encompass the whole organization. To what extent they are developing goals and targets regarding circular economy to support their transition. To what extent they are developing new cost structures and new revenue streams regarding these new value propositions for circularity, and to what extent they are actually delivering value for end users in this transition. And regarding this last question, I have an example here from Happy Returns. So Happy Returns is a platform, a network that provides a return service for packages, including end-of-life returns. And although their clients are brand owners and retailers and manufacturers in general, they are providing convenience to end users by amplifying their network. So right now they have many different collection points. In the US in 2020, 90% of the population lived within 16 kilometers from a HAP return collection point. So providing the convenience to end users, these end users are more motivated and are more willing to engage with circular economy initiatives. For instance, returning their products at the end of life. Logistics providers can also improve their readiness in terms of logistics services and innovations. So improve their or get ready to provide offerings related to circularity, and also develop or support their partners in developing research to improve the circularity of their offerings. And as an example, we have here GXO that provides a shared logistics service and infrastructure to their clients. So their clients can share warehousing facilities, for instance, and with that, they can get a better costs, of course, but also minimize the use of resources in terms of building infrastructure and energy, for example. The next dimension is sourcing and operations, and here we investigate to what extent companies are developing their operations to minimize resource use, to what extent they are using packaging that fosters circularity somehow, how ready they are to recover the resources they use during their operations, and to what extent they are actually establishing requirements to in their acquisition, in their procurement offices. And as an example, we have the Mieta port, that is an Egyptian port that is providing their clients onshore power supply that is not based on fossil fuels. That this way, ships can keep operating without disruption and without disrupting the environment in the near areas of the port. So they're minimizing the use of fossil fuel and resources by offering this onshore power supply. The next dimension is technology and data. And here we are addressing how far companies are employing technology to improve the efficiency of their operations, how far they're employing technology to track their resources throughout their lifetime, and how far they are in fostering the transparency across the value chain, how far they are in making available data and information to their partners. And as an example, we have the SV. It's a Danish company that is employing a technology called AutoStore to deliver automation to their warehouses, improving their operations in general, but also reducing time to deliver deliver the products, reducing rumor errors, reducing product malfunction or breakdowns during this storing at the storing facility. And as the last dimension, we have here policy and market. And here we are looking into how ready logistics providers are to influence and to boost market readiness towards circular products, not only their own services and offerings, but also circular products in general. To what extent they are collaborating with their value chain to promote circular initiatives, how far they are in establishing both sectorial and national and international legislation frameworks for circularity. So how they can influence these frameworks to improve circularity and to boost their market. And as an example here, I have CG Korea Express, which is a logistic provider in Korea, in CU. And they are using existing facilities, so they're collaborating with partners to use existing facilities to operate. So they use the metro not only to deliver the parcels, but also to provide warehouse facilities and other services. So they are using existing infrastructure. They don't need to add to that existing infrastructure to provide their services. And here are then the 6 dimensions for circular economy readiness for logistic providers. And then the company that we have, the question that we have to you is, how ready are you to transition to a circular economy? How ready is your company to transition? And Krestine will guide us through the next steps.
Thank you so much, Giovana. Yeah, so the question is really, how ready are you? If you're representing a logistic providers, you now have the opportunity to go on our platform directly and do an assessment. It's open and free to use for all companies. If I can get the next slide. Yeah, so this is what you will see on the platform. And the first thing you should do is to select which layer you represent. So here you will have the logistic providers layer selected already. It could also be, if you're a larger company, you will fit into multiple layers. But here, let's just focus on the logistics providers. And if we take the next slide, what you can do is then to dive in and do the readiness assessment and get a profile. And based on that, as Giovana mentioned, you can do a benchmarking. And the third element is the prioritization and the transition path. So the benchmarking and the readiness profile is really what brings you that insight that you can then use to strategize your coming activities. And as Giovana mentioned, with tools and recommendations for based on exactly that readiness stage you're at and what kind of layer you're in. So it's customized and there's an algorithm behind that. So that's the ready2LOOP platform. So we are very happy to launch this new layer. It will be available very shortly after this webinar. And just a little bit on the project. We're supported by the Industry Foundation here in Denmark. And it's the key partner is the Technical University of Denmark. We're doing all the research behind the project. And then we also have a steering committee guiding us, which is the Manufacturing Academy of Denmark. And we also have the Danish Business Authority. And then we have the Confederation of the Danish Industry. And then what we've done is to partner up with some consultancies, with Mougaard and Rambøll, and then to support you in doing the actual accelerators. And then just a little bit what we have coming in ready2LOOP, a few activities. Now we have launched the logistic providers, and then we're just missing one last layer. So we have launched all the other layers, and so look out for September. after the summer, we will be launching the very final layer, and we have a complete value chain coverage. And what we will then be doing is to focus on the value chain and the cooperation. What can we actually do now we have the assessment of all the layers? What can we do to make all the different companies collaborate and make the right constellation to actually support a high efficient circular economy business for all layers? And then just a little highlight, in January 2025, we will be repeating what we did this year. We will have a micro accelerator offer. So you can join our course here at DTU. What you will do is to sign up with a case, and then you will be supported intensely in 3 weeks with some master students here from DTU, and they will be some junior supporters for you, and they are being trained in design for circular economy. And this is particularly relevant for product manufacturers, component manufacturers, and then the packaging manufacturers. And you can sign up using this link. Thank you. And then we have partnered up with the Danish Industry Foundation, and we will here be focusing also on a micro accelerator, but for retail and wholesale. And we're super excited about that. And sign up is also ready. I will add it to the chat later. So that's what we have ahead of us. And then here are the process of the accelerators. I will not delve too much into that, but instead I will ask Amro and Julia to come on stage, and then we'll have the Q&A session. I'm trying to save a little bit of time here. And just announcing a little bit that if you're joining the platform, you will be joining a lot of other companies. We have more than 800 companies on the platform so far. Okay, but Amro and Julia, I can see you now, and welcome so much, and thank you for taking time to join this webinar and our launch. I have prepared a few questions, so I will just, Amro, I will start with you. So just in overall, what is your perspective and reflections on how circular economy is actually gonna influence logistic providers on overall terms?
Well, yeah. Hello, everybody. So you can say that since circular economy creates new opportunities for, let's say, manufacturing companies to provide products as a service, this will then provide new possibilities for logistic providers. Since the manufacturing companies could implement return logistics, they will require logistic services that can accommodate new and efficient way of transporting these components or recovered materials back. So you can say that like logistic providers have a possibility to offer new services that, for example, has more efficient support for recovering products or materials from different locations, higher pace, and so on. So the conclusion can be that logistic providers have an opportunity to add new value offerings to their business model and create new revenue streams in that way.
Yeah. What do you think the key element will be if you should highlight one thing? So the role of the logistics providers will be the same, but what will be increased, or what is the key area, or why is the logistic provider so important for circular economy?
Yeah, you can say like the logistic providers can help, for example, with take back solutions. That could be one thing, like a very you can say like climate action that we use a lot when we talk about circular economy. So that's one thing that I want to highlight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could be one thing.
Yeah, super. Thank you so much. And then Julia, maybe also your perspectives on what value can it actually bring logistic providers? What is your perspectives there?
Yeah, Krestine, thanks, by the way, for inviting, first of all. And in terms of value, Amro, he touched up on it, but I think the first clear value would be innovation and also tapping into new revenue streams. So being able to help other actors to address their logistic challenges with the circular economy, and helping them to set up their reverse logistics and efficient circulation of products and materials. Through this, logistic providers can tap into the emerging circular business models.
Yeah.
Also, like in that innovation and revenue, new revenue streams, maybe helping others with reusable packaging as an important circularity component. This is not something that manufacturers or waste can do by themselves, but they are dependent on logistic companies. So, and all of this also enhances brand value, image, and another one for their own business model and how company, how it increases value is risk mitigation and long-term sustainability. So future-proofing the business by having a lower carbon footprint, reducing waste themselves in their storage and handling of products. Yeah, and overall also another value by adopting circular economy principles, increasing their own operational efficiency and thus cost savings by optimized route and optimized storing of products.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically it's an added business opportunity. I'm glad you ended on that perspective, because that's exactly how we see it as well. So Amro, another question for you. So now we talked about the value that it can add. What about the risk that can actually occur for a logistic provider? Is there any reflections there? Anything we should be aware of?
Yeah. So it's simply that they will be less competitive compared to other companies that has included new strategies or operations to support circular economy. This can be like existing logistic providers or new players to the market that are more innovative in their ways of offering efficiency and sustainable logistics. And you can say that a big risk is to not strategize and plan for transitioning already, since many of the challenges and requirements for accommodating circular economy transitions in the market can be tied up to larger investments, like innovating on storage and fleet, streamlining operational pace, maybe develop digital solutions and tracking systems. So, and these parameters can be difficult to change, like on the short term. So you have to plan it like ahead, if you can say so.
Yeah, thank you so much. And then now we've had a nice walkthrough of all the dimensions that we found of importance for logistics providers. So maybe we could reflect a little bit. Julia, maybe you could take that one on what activities and services for the logistic providers do you think will be affected the most?
Right. Yeah, so I would say, obviously, first of all, the transportation services. So shifting to vehicles with alternative energy and sources and fuels is a key component. And also the way they offer reverse logistics. So you have also showed some examples on easy returns of products. But here, I think reverse logistics for e-commerce, for example, will be affected from the ban of destroying unsold clothing and footwear under the EU Sustainable Products Initiative. So having new ways for avoiding that products are destroyed, but instead making sure that they can be reused and resold.
Yeah.
So I think those reverse logistics. Did you have a question?
Yeah. Great. And then also interestingly with the reverse logistics and that part is that they are very, very much dependent on collaborating with other stakeholders in the value chain for exactly that.
Yeah.
So that's super nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I would also like add sustainable packaging. And again, this is something they can need to collaborate with manufacturers, but being there as a partner to offer sustainable packaging solutions, reusable packaging, and of course also more environmentally friendly solutions where they are in charge of choosing packaging.
Yeah, and these activities that you're mentioning, some of them, they have a lot of control of.
Yeah.
And others they will have less. For example, with the fleet Amro, you also mentioned on the climate action, they can go for environmental friendly fleet of the vehicles, but also the fuel they're using and so forth. But then for the others, they have less control and need to collaborate externally.
Yeah.
And just Amro, what do you think will be the challenges of the logistic providers today? Right now, what will be the main challenges to go further for logistic providers to become more circular or more ready, as we say?
So you say like there will be a higher demand and pace
Yeah.
for transportation streams between multiple actors in the world with circular economy. So therefore, the logistic providers need to have sufficient capacity to operate and deliver on time for their clients. So if the clients continuously are delayed in receiving, for instance, a batch of recovered components impacting production, that could increase their risk of changing to another logistic provider. So digitalization can, for example, play a big role in terms of defining new ways to manage operations.
Yeah.
But another challenge can also be the storage solutions. If a logistic provider has an inefficient storage, spaces, this can mean losing potential clients or needing to give up certain deliveries to competitors. So again, providers need to utilize new technologies at facilities as well that can support higher operational speeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just a little add-on question to that. So now you talked about the challenges. Where do you think they're the most ready in terms of the dimensions we had? So I guess it will not be the technology and data, but where do you think they're prepared?
Yeah, so you could say that by adopting a circular economy model, logistic companies can meet their sustainability goals, but they can also ensure like compliance with current and future legislations. So you can say that the transition supports, for example, operational efficiency, cost savings, risk mitigation, and it enhances also the company's reputation, like overall, by providing a comprehensive approach to sustainable and resilient business practices. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, that's super fine. Thank you so much. And then we're almost there. I think I will have a few more questions. So Julia, maybe. How do you think that, as I touched upon before, internal and external collaboration? So what do you think logistic providers, what can they do to support the circular economy implementation in industry?
Right. First of all, I think they are, and this whole webinar is because they are an incredibly important enabler for a circular value chain in almost all sectors. And in all sectors, there's a massive drive towards reusing products, recycling through the regulation on eco-design for sustainable products. So becoming circular is like in future a must-have, but that also creates the need for efficient reverse logistics at scale. So this is the first thing, how then logistic companies support others in the value chain to realize circularity. So providing the reverse logistics, whether it's for products, returning products, or materials, finding new smart ways to collect end-of-use products and materials, and optimizing to achieve the necessary scale to make this economically viable. Then another practice that will become so critical is data sharing for sustainability. So being able to provide the data on how much has been transported with which transport type is critical for a company's ability to calculate their carbon footprints, scope 2 and 3, but also for calculating material inflows and outflows and disclosing those in their CSRD. And then also generally, how they are supporting a circular economy implementation. They can add a lot of value to the end users, so make it easy for users to return or to hand in products that they don't use anymore, products that need to be repaired. Everything that at now is maybe not worth it time-wise for consumers, to make this just as inconvenient and simple so that it becomes a mainstream practice is something where they can in future provide the right services for.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's have a last question to finalize the Q&A session here. So I would like to direct it to both of you. So how do you think that circular economy support logistic companies to achieve their sustainability goals? And then how is this also affecting how they can be in compliance with upcoming legislation? So that's actually what we talk a lot about, or what is up in the media a lot with compliance. But how do you think circular economy plays a role there?
Yeah, so for the legislation part, if we start with that, there's the extended producer responsibility, of course. So circular economy practices can help comply with these regulations, which require companies to manage the disposal and recycling of their products. So that's one very important thing regarding that part. And then when we talk about sustainability goals, like you can split it up into different subcategories, if you can say so. So there's the resource efficiency. That's more about like reducing waste, for example, and optimal resource utilization. But also regarding like lower carbon footprint, here we talk about energy efficiency, for example. We talk about renewable energy integration. That's all something that feeds into that. And yeah, I don't know if you want to say something more about that, Julie.
Let me think. I think I'm largely aligned with you. I think you have named key sustainability goals that should be relevant for logistic providers. It's largely related to their corporate carbon footprint, and then their fleet, of course, and how their logistics are managed is decisive to reduce their corporate carbon footprint. I think many will also need to report on their circularity performance under CSRD. That will be material. So here, what materials are coming in and out. You have to work on making material inflows, outflows as efficient as possible. So in terms of product return, not destroying products that have been returned by consumers, that is a practice that's no longer viable and important for the company's sustainability goals.
Yeah.
So, I think companies will need to disclose much more, and circular economy practices is just one of the important principles to improve sustainability, or essential principles to improve their performance and thus disclosure.
So it really goes hands in hands. That's what I hear you say, Julia.
Compliance and with the carbon footprint, but also their
Great.
circularity performance.
Definitely.
Any last final comments from your side to close off the Q&A? Then it's the time.
I think I'm just excited for all future offers by logistic providers, because I think in the last years, so much has happened that has radically changed how end users, can ship around goods and receive goods. And I'm just hoping that this will not only benefit e-commerce, that we purchase much more from linear e-commerce, but also re-commerce, where it's being easier to have the same for reused products.
Fantastic. Re-commerce, that was a new word for me. Thank you for that, Julia. Okay, but then I would like to thank you both very much for joining. And there's not more to say, but we're super excited about launching the new layer, and it will be available to everyone very shortly after the webinar here. And you can go on our website, ready2loop.org, and here you can find everything. So hope to meet you soon again, and thank you everyone for joining, and have a pleasant day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.